Korkenstein, this is my thought. This is my pitch, chat, and panel. So, and again, this is my theory. I could be 1,000% wrong, Cork, but I don't think I am. And here's why. So we got information yesterday that Rockstar's behemoth, known as Grand Theft Auto 6, has been delayed specifically to November 19th, which is a Thursday of 2026. That's about 7 months or calendar months away. They have a lot to do. And again, we don't know if that is a work slowage. We don't know if that has anything to do with the people that they let go due to this Discord leak or whatever. But what this ultimately does is one of the rumors that popped up early this year was that PlayStation was so serious, and it's going to be a big seller. It's going to sell the most on PlayStation 5, whether it be the 5 or the Pro. Grand Theft Auto 6 is a next generation game only. It's releasing on a total of 4 consoles: Series X, S, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro. Sony, and again, this is the rumor by a couple of their insiders, sent a team of engineers over to Rockstar to try and get this game running on the Pro and the PS5 at 60 frames. Is that something that's going to happen? I don't have any idea. I can see the PlayStation 5 running it at 30. I can see the Series S running it at 30. I can see the X and the Pro potentially running it at 60, but then I'm not a developer. But this is where this gets very, very interesting. So we know, thanks to Sarah Bond, that the Microsoft-produced hardware for whatever they're doing in the next generation, which is expected to land in the holiday of 2027, is going to be a premium and curated experience. Now, with that story came price, and it's probably going to be expensive. Now, some people think $1,200. Other people, like Hargeet Chani, think $800, right? I think there's going to be a handheld, a dockable handheld, or at least a singular handheld in some way. But that's 2027. I want to focus on 2026 here, gentlemen, and chat. And here is what I am pitching to you. Next year is the 25th anniversary of the platform, meaning the Xbox platform. And it is going to be a party that starts January 1st and finishes up December 31st of that year. From start to finish, it is going to be a celebration of everything and anything that is Xbox. And the 3 pillars that stand up the box itself in Halo, Gears, and Forza are getting a new release. Gears E-Day, Halo Campaign Evolved, and of course, the granddaddy release, I think, of all of them, is the fact that their best racer in Forza Horizon is finally confirmed to be going to Japan. And I think that just those 3 games are enough to celebrate the platform. But I don't think that's where it starts or it ends. As a matter of fact, they have Fable releasing next year. They also have, which I believe, Clockwork Revolution. I think that releases next year as well. And I do think there are some additional surprises. The one thing that we know about Xbox Game Studios is they have a lot of games in development, a lot that we know, some we don't. But this is where I get a little pointed. Now, for the last 6 or 7 months, based on the just recently released OEM partnered handheld with the Xbox Ally and the Xbox Ally X, Asus and Microsoft have worked together in tandem to put this device out. Now, whether you believe the Xboxer and this is, an actual Xbox, or you don't, I don't care one way or another. To me, it is an Xbox handheld because I'm playing my Xbox games on it. But we have been hearing that there is a potential mystery OEM device releasing next year. And again, folks, walk with me on this. I'm going to set up what could be the greatest party of all time, right? Now, we lost Cork, but I would imagine he's going to get back here. So I'm going to keep talking, and we're going to bring up that. So here's what I am pitching, gentlemen. Oh, Corkenstein is back. So let me just bring him back in. Cork, what's going on, brother? So, okay, I haven't started my pitch. So here's my pitch to you. Next year, Party Town USA for Xbox and its players. January 1st, December 31st, it is going to be everything and anything Xbox. They have their best games coming out. First party is hitting on all cylinders. Xbox Game Pass is already expected to levy some of the best first-party games ever, and we know that Sarah Bond and her team are doing their due diligence to get the best games into Xbox Game Pass to celebrate. And I got to tell you, if you are a developer out there, this is the year to jump on Xbox Game Pass because it's going to be all eyes on the brand, including the service, and you want to be a part of that conversation. But this is where I get pointed, Cork. I think that something you were talking about before, this OEM device. Now, according to certain ponies, the best place to play Grand Theft Auto, according to rumors, will be the PS5 Pro, because apparently it's going to run it at 60 frames. But we'll see. But here's my pitch. What if it's not? What if the PlayStation 5 Pro is the second best place to play your new and shiny Grand Theft Auto 6? What if the best place is the partnered Asus and Xbox, who is currently working with AMD to get this device out, this under-the-box mythical thing that is going to run your Xbox games? It's going to run your PC games on Steam. It's going to run your good old games and even your Epic Game Store games, all on this partnered box underneath your TV. And it's going to be what? It's going to kind of follow the steps of what they did with handheld. And Xbox, you heard, like Sarah Bond literally said, we are learning as we put these things out. So when we come out with our own, well, there you go. Cork, I want to get your thoughts on this because November 19th is a very specific date. And that just so happens to be 4 days after November 15th, when what? The original Xbox released with Halo Combat Evolved. Wouldn't it be a story to have this OEM box, this mythical thing that does everything and anything when it comes to playing games, releases on the 15th to celebrate what? The Combat Evolved remake. And on top of that, 4 days later, becomes the best place to play Grand Theft Auto 6. Because again, this is going to be an Xbox. You're going to be able to play your Xbox games on it. Grand Theft Auto 6 is launching on an Xbox. This would break the backs of all of the ponies that think that the PlayStation 5 Pro will be potentially the best place to play. I'm pitching that it's going to be the second best place to play. Let's get your thoughts on my thoughts and theories on the OEM device releasing 4 days before Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I think, it's definitely something that could be coming out. I think it's actually the Xbox, like an actual official Xbox device that's going to be.
Okay.
I don't know. For me, it would seem weird to be like, here's Halo, first on the OG Xbox. And then you're like, and here's, I'm just going to make up, Razer's OEM, it would have like a lot more impact, I think, for me, is if it was like an actual Xbox device. And it would make sense, because why is Xbox going to pay a ton of money in marketing to get that, Rockstar, play it on GTA 6 on the, the next box. That's what I've been calling it, the next box. And like, why are you gonna, pay all that money? Because Rockstar is not going to be cheap with it.
No.
That to get GTA marketing on your console is going to be a pretty penny.
$1 billion, brother.
Yeah. So why not just Xbox, release their own 4 days They've definitely built, Grand Theft Auto 6 on the GDK because that's how you get it on Xbox. That's how you get it on Windows PC or Xbox PC now. Why not? Yeah, it would utilize all the same stuff. Now, will it be optimized for that? Probably not, unless they have a developer kit. But I think it would be in Xbox's best interest, especially if they want to hit those initial sales.
Yep.
And yeah, especially if this is going to be a beast of a machine where, we're thinking anywhere from $800 to $1,000. That's going to sell consoles right there. Some people believe it won't. I think it will. Especially if, you're going to be able to get this next best, Xbox Magnus chipset with top of the line console graphics, I guess you could say at the time. We don't know exactly what the specifications are, but it'll definitely be a leap and bounds above what the Series X is doing and what the PlayStation 5 Pro is doing. It would just sell. So, but then again, you also don't want Microsoft to rush a console. Now we're looking at Red Ring of Death again, because they didn't get the heatsink right and the, wasn't cooling down fast enough. And now here's this awesome console that loses all of its hype and they got to rebuild again from the start. So we don't want them to rush it, but I think it would behoove Xbox to try and get this thing out as soon as possible. That, or maybe they can't and they're like, okay, yeah, here's an OEM device that's using Magnus. This will do the same thing. So they're not taking as much risk. They're also helping subsidize, especially if that OEM device does have Magnus, they probably didn't sell it for very cheap. So now they're subsidizing their costs for the next box to bring down the price a little bit lower. I mean, who knows? There's a million ways that Xbox can kind of go around and handle this. But I think if they want to make the most impact, they drop their own console. It's, they start the clean slate. We're bringing back Halo. We're bringing back Gears of War. We're bringing back, Forza. We're starting Xbox over again with this new mindset of, play your games anywhere you want on any device. And, here it is. This is our PC hybrid console. And that's the new Xbox kind of going forward. I think that would set leaps and bounds as a console. And with GTA 6, like I said, it's a no-brainer. I would go out and buy it. I'm already going to buy it regardless of when it comes out, just because I would love a PC console hybrid. But yeah, it'd be funny because especially when you had people running to the stores to be like, oh, I want to play a game that hasn't even have a release date yet at the time. I want to buy it to where it plays the best. That tweet did not age well.
Are you referring to Ryan McCaffrey? Because we can name names, and you know what? If you don't know what he's talking about, Ryan McCaffrey did a whole rigmarole about getting out in front of this. I don't know whether it was a click thing or whatever, and he proclaimed to the world that he was buying. He was proud that he bought a PlayStation 5 Pro to play the best place for Grand Theft Auto, and yep, that it did not age well. So thanks for not saying the name, but you know what? This we got to know what you're talking about. So there you go. Yeah, it was Ryan McCaffrey. Not surprising at all.
And another tweet that's aged poorly by him. He was like, "Oh, Microsoft is in trouble with Grand Theft Auto. They have Gears of War and Halo and Forza all released. It's like coming out in the fall, and it's like they're not going to release Call of Duty, Gears of War, Halo, and Forza all within a month time frame. Maybe one or two of those because of how different they are. But like, dude, come on. What's with the concern troll, the fake? Like, you really think they're gonna do Call of Duty, Halo, Gears of War, and Forza all within a month of each other, let alone a month? Maybe Gears, I would say probably, if I had to guess, Forza will be May. Fable's still slated. Oh, and he mentioned Fable 2. Fable's slated for beginning, so that's probably Q1, Q2, maybe.
Yes.
I think Forza will be May. April, May, to get that spring blossom or the cherry blossom from Japan, since it's there. Gears of War E-Day, I think, is going to be summer, maybe late summer, early fall. And then I think the only one that it really competes with is Halo and Call of Duty in October. Halo on November for sure. I think it would be a bad choice.
It's going to be day and date with the console.
I think so.
They're literally going to copy and paste what they did in 2001 and release Halo Campaign Evolved with this new console, whether it be their own or the hybrid, the partner device. I mean, I like what you're putting down. I'm going to be honest with you. I love the idea that they go early with their console. And maybe they wait to the following year to do a handheld. But I think that it would be such a unbelievably missed opportunity to celebrate your 25th anniversary not having a console ready. And at this point, I don't really think that it matters whether it be a partner device that's an Xbox or an actual Microsoft produced box. I actually think that either one for me, they're getting my money. But I think that because of, again, how many brands celebrate 25 years and how many brands have been as successful? And again, your opinion on Microsoft's success is going to vary. Some people think that they have failed. Folks, the third place team is putting out the best games on your platform. I mean, if you're a Nintendo player, not yet, but they will. But if you're on PlayStation, your best games have not been from PlayStation Studios, and they have not been there in years. Your best games have been from Xbox Game Studios. So let that sink in for a second. So I'm with you, Cork. I think you are onto something. And again, I don't think it matters. I think that you have to have a console, whether it be an OEM device or your own. You gotta do this right. You only hit 25 years once in a generation. You're celebrating Halo. We know Halo is looking fantastic and is going to be a major step up from the original 2001 release in every way, shape, and form. You gotta match that with a console, and I think that's what is going to happen. So great points all around, Cork. Crispy Bomb, let's bring you in on this. Now, look, this is all speculation, and I could be 1,000% wrong, but I don't think that I am, and I don't think Cork is either. I think the way Cork has lined this up is pretty damn important. I want to get your thoughts on this because 25-year anniversary, Halo confirmed already, Gears coming out next year, Gears of War E-Day, right? We're getting a new Forza in Japan. Fable is going to be released, and I think that not only are we going to get a developer direct in January, as we've done the last 3 years with Fable, but we're going to get a Fable to come out maybe in April, right? And of course, you have the other three bigs. Where do they fit in? That's a topic for another show, but I want to talk about this hardware because I think that we're onto something here. And here is where I add some additional salt to this dish. Why do you think Xbox didn't do a mid-gen refresh? Because they were looking much further down the road than Sony was. And because they didn't spend development dollars on a mid-gen refresh, they have been able to work with a partner like Asus and get a pair of handhelds out this year. I think that they could be set up to release the first OEM device of Xbox's history next year, if not their own device, which will come out in 2027. Let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how many anniversaries that are going on next year, and also the amount of games. Like, you could literally release one game, and it could probably potentially be enough according to the stands, because, you get like one major release. Instead, we're going to get potentially 4, and that's not including the ones that could speculatively be released as well. I mean, there's a lot of games that have been in development for a while, even like a State of Decay 3. Like, you just never know. They do like the shadow drops as well. So on that note, in realism, if they did release their own hardware, that would be a big deal. You'd already have all those games out there. You have Game Pass, regardless of the price. There's still plenty of deals, by the way. I've actually saved money. Microsoft, thank you for making me save money, and I have stacked like Boom suggested a while ago. And if you look at what they're doing, regardless of it being their own or OEM, if they release a console next year with all of these games plus Grand Theft Auto, I mean,
Crazy.
if you have a 360 or you're playing, the one generation and you don't play games like that, but that you're waiting for that Grand Theft Auto, if you're gonna, drop the money, you're gonna do it on a PS5 Pro, potentially, looking at the metrics, it's already around $800. If they could hit that $800 mark with a new console, I think it would be a big deal. And also what they're trying to do and being able to use Steam and potentially even play PlayStation games. I don't know. I think a lot of people that maybe, on the last gen might look at that and say, why not? I mean, it just makes sense to invest in, even if it's higher priced and have all these options. So it would be a really big deal if they could do that next year. And I think, the way, like you said, they didn't do a mid-gen refresh. You don't know how long they've been cooking on this. So we definitely, I'm excited to see, because this could potentially get me to, upgrade, even though I don't feel I have to. The Series X is a very capable machine, and it will continue to be for several years. So it's really it's an interesting time. And with all these anniversaries, I think it would be the most logical to drop all those games and have a console ready to go.
I mean, great points of view. And again, it just doesn't it seem too perfect, Crispy, where the November 15th is the official 25th anniversary of the platform, and then November 19th, 4 days later, Grand Theft Auto 6, the biggest game ever to release on any platform, and on top of celebrating the 25 years with Gears, Forza, Halo, Fable, you add the best place to play Grand Theft Auto 6, not on the PlayStation, but on this new box. It would be a story for the ages. It just really would. But look, great points so far. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's bring you in and get your thoughts on this OEM slash Xbox device that could be happening in November of 2026. Again, we are officially over a year away from Grand Theft Auto. We are officially over a year away from what is expected to be the celebration of celebrations. Xbox is celebrating this 25th anniversary. Halo Combat Evolved is getting its 25th anniversary celebration as well. And on top of that, again, it seems so good that it's almost storybook good, where the 15th could be the launch of Xbox's console, whether it be their own or an OEM device, and then 4 days later you get Grand Theft Auto 6. So not only could you be playing Halo Campaign Evolved, but you'll be able to play Grand Theft Auto 6, which is going to be a beast, and you need a beast to run this game on, and it would be one hell of a story. One hell of a story to be told, that the best place to play Grand Theft Auto 6 will not be on a PlayStation. It'll be on this Xbox. Let's talk about it, man.
I kind of in sync with Cork on this, with it being an official device from Xbox as opposed to an OEM. Although the OEMs could be available at the same time, so that way we have those variety of price points. Maybe a slightly underpowered one that comes in closer to 600 or so, or a beast of one from, like, let's say Alienware, for example, at like 1200. But a key thing that I know has been mentioned before when it comes to Xbox's console, it's targeting 2027. Well, when does fiscal year 2027 start for Xbox or for Microsoft in general? That would be October 1st of 26. So if your pre-orders open sometime after October of 2026, that's still technically the fiscal calendar year of 2027 for Microsoft. So I'm really thinking that they are going to have their own console, their own in-house brand, one that will be available around that time frame. Some of the key things that will kind of solidify that will probably be the VGAs this year. Not expecting, but it would be pretty awesome if they do another like Series X unveil, kind of like what they did at the I think it was the 2019 VGAs, and then we got the console in 2020. So to do so for the next gen, I think we can hope, keep our fingers crossed that we see whatever the next gen Xbox. I call it next box as well, NE Xbox, and NE for plays any Xbox game or new edition Xbox, or however you want to frame it. It's going to be the next Xbox, but I think that's what we get to see, on November 15th, or I think we get to see it sooner. But I'm under the impression we'll get to pre-order it in October, and then hopefully be able to pick it up at GameStop or have it shipped direct from Microsoft or from Best Buy or from wherever, and have it in our hands in time for November 15th for the 25th anniversary and stuff. So I would not be surprised. But like you said, when it comes to like those OEM devices, since they partnered up with Asus, it wouldn't surprise me to see at least one of their partnered um, OEMs have a device that's either a slightly lesser scale or maybe a slightly upscale version of what they release. And I'm still fingers crossed hoping that the Microsoft one comes in at 800, and the OEMs can be a little bit below and a little bit above. And it's I know a lot of people say subsidies are completely gone. I still think they subsidize somewhat. Like at 800, are they losing the 2 to 300 that they were on the Series S sales when you look at the chipset itself? No, but I think if they're subsidizing up to like $50 or something like that to keep it under a grand or keep it under 900, I think they might wind up doing that, especially like with GTA being around the corner. Now we don't know what the pricing is going to be like on GTA 6. I'm one of those that doesn't believe it's $100. I'm actually thinking they shock the world with a subscription model similar to that of WoW,
Yeah, wow, that's
World of
interesting.
Warcraft kind of thing. Because, and it's not that Zelnick said this exactly, but he wants games to be priced for the time that you put into them. So if you're doing a subscription model in that sense, like a World of Warcraft, that kind of fits that to some extent. And I joked around with a few people before about how it's like, well, you could play it for free and then start off as a bum on the street, or you can, pay the subscription fee and then, at least have a starter house, a starter car, and hope that you don't get robbed in the streets of, Vice City kind of thing. But yeah, I do think Xbox will have some sort of hardware, whether it's partnered or their own. I'm leaning more towards their own and potentially the partner ones being available around the same time. But I think all of those that proclaim that the PS5 Pro will be the best place to play will be eating crow, by that time. But we'll see. And I would love for Rockstar to make it for PC. Maybe Xbox releasing this device will encourage them to release a PC version at the same time. Because if the device is kind of a part PC, part console, definitely lock in that money from the Xbox crowd. Wind up actually possibly seeing a lot more people pick up the Xbox because of that, and then the PC crowd won't have to wait the year to 2 years. You'll see all of that money up front, and the Guinness Book of World Records might have what was it like? I think the record is like 2 billion in a couple of days, which they did with GTA 5.
Yep.
I could see them, selling well over 40 million or 50 million copies, and reaching that 2 billion in like the pre-orders kind of thing. So we'll see how it all works out. But I really do think Xbox has at least some sort of console ready to go that's the next generation of hardware, not just the current series consoles or a reiteration of those type of deal. So we'll see. Start saving now, because like I said, I'm expecting 800. I wish 500 was still a reality, but start saving now, and at least that way it will kind of counter that extra couple hundred over what we've normally become accustomed to for consoles. So, fingers crossed it it's not too ridiculous in price, but we'll see.